Hello children, welcome to our grammar lesson voice, active voice and passive voice. In last chapter we have studied what is active voice. Like the sentence is said to be in active voice when the subject is the doer of the action, and it is said to be in passive voice when the subject is the receiver of an action. Got it? Now today we will see how it is doer of the action, receiver of the action, and then we'll proceed. Now see, the sentences either, as I told you, can be active or passive. Let's see some example. The teacher teaches the student. What is the sentence about? Who is the subject here? The teacher. What action is she doing? She is teaching. Teaches is the verb here. Then the students are the receiver of an action. This teaching action is being received by whom? By the students. So here, as I told you all in the video one also I have told, when there is a direct relation like subject, object and the verb, and we are telling that subject has done some action, it is an active voice. Whereas in passive voice, you see, student is the subject, but is he doing something? No, he is the receiver of the action which is done by the teacher. Right, so here the student being a subject becomes the receiver of the action, and in active voice the teacher is the doer of the action. That is just a reference and was taught this. So when we change active to passive, if you have noticed and if you are smart enough to observe, if you see in active voice the teacher, the subject here, becomes the object in the passive voice, right? And the student, which was the object here, becomes the subject in passive voice. So they interchange the place, and the verb also obviously change because we have to tell by whom the action is done. So in passive voice we always add by to show that the action is done by someone. Now how to convert this? As earlier in the first this slide also I have told, Rita wrote a letter. Rita is the subject, wrote is the verb. What she wrote, we get an answer, that is your object. That is letter becomes your object. Now the same we have to remember that object takes the place of subject. So letter pehle aa gaya, Rita, by Rita. We need to add by because you have to show that who has done the action, which comes here by Rita, was written. Now this why was written, why not is written and all, we'll see gradually because it depends on the tense of the sentence. So what is the structure of this passive voice? Object comes first, then auxiliary verb, past participle and plus by subject, like by whom the action is done. Here also if you see, she cooks the food, she is subject plus verb plus food is an object. So subject, verb, object, whereas here the food is cooked by her, where your object becomes here first and your subject goes at the last with the past participle form of verb. Now the rules to change active and passive voice in simple present tense. Yes, there are rules, and these rules depending on the tense of the sentence. Here I'll give you an example. Active voice, simple present tense. What is the simple present tense sentence here? He reads a novel. Reads is a simple present tense verb. If he is a subject, V1 verb we call it, which has S or ES. He reads. So S is here because verb is singular because the subject is singular. Now what happens when we change this to passive voice? Object comes first. Object kya tha? Novel. So a novel has come here first. Then because it is reads and because it is in simple present tense, we use the auxiliary verb is. Novel is read. Though the spelling remains same, read, but the past participle form of read is read and the spelling is same. By whom? By him. Here by him I have not added, but by him is there. Now if you see the passive voice structure of the sentence, object comes first and here is, am, are. If the sentence would have been he reads novels. Novels, if it would have been plural, so what would have been the sentence? The novels are read. Why? Because novels, if the subject verb agreement, the verb should agree with the subject. Here the verb is, here the noun is singular or the subject here is singular, so is we are using. Now the same sentence if it is negative. He does not cook food. Food is not cooked by him. And if it is in the interrogative part, does he purchase books? Are the books purchased by him? Now see here we have used are because books noun that is followed is in plural form. Now we'll see the rules for present continuous tense. Present continuous tense, remember children, it always has ing form of verb. V1 means V1 verb which is added with ing, which has ing form of verb. So the structure is remains the same: subject, verb, and subject. Helping verb is am, are plus ing form of verb and the object in active voice, and in passive voice the subject comes at the last. Let's see an example. Isha is singing song. Is singing. Now as I told you, if you remember, in passive voice the verb changes to past participle. Now what is the past participle of sing? It is sung. Okay, and the sentence is in continuous tense, so we use or we add being and is as it is. So a song is being sung by Isha. It becomes the passive voice. Active voice, Kritika is not chopping the vegetables. Now this is negative sentence. Vegetables, take it first. By Kritika you added what vegetables are in plural. So we'll say are not being chopped by Kritika. So always remember, when it is an ing form, what you need to add is being. You'll find this being common in this sentences when the sentence given in active voice is continuous tense or the present continuous tense. Now is Ritika buying a table? Buying, again ing form of verb, continuous, but it is an interrogative. So is a table being bought by Ritika? Another example, they are serving poor people. Poor people are being served by them. Here again served is your past participle. We say it, call it as PP form of verb, and being is always there. She is disturbing Dinesh. Dinesh is being disturbed by her. Now the rules for present perfect tense. Present perfect, if you remember, present perfect always has or have. V3 form of verb is already there and the object. And the rules remains the same. Object in passive voice, subject becomes the object and object becomes the subject. And in passive voice, it has by before it. Right. So let's see an example. Nitesh has challenged her. Okay, now her, we cannot say her has been challenged by Nitish. No. So here we'll turn it into she and we will take Nitesh at the end and write by Nitesh. Now what is left is has challenged. So has also will come as it is. Challenged also will come as it is. What you have to add? You just have to add been here. If you notice that the sentences as in present perfect, you just have to interchange the places of the subject and object. Write this has and the verb as it is because it is already in V3 form or PP form of verb. So here also you don't have to sit and think how to what is the past participle form or V3 form of verb. You just have to copy the same word, and between this has and the verb you just have to add been. Okay, now see another example. It is it is a negative sentence. Radhika has not written an article. Now see, an article pehle aa gaya. By Radhika goes be at last. What is left? Has not written bhi aa gaya. Has or not ke written and written ke beech. Has not and written. Between these we just have to add been there. Have they left the apartment? Interrogative sentence. Now apartment is singular, so we have used has. If it would have been apartments, so then we would have used have apartments been left. So here it is, has apartment been left by them. Another example, she has created this masterpiece. By now you might have understood what changes, like at least you have understood changing of subject and the object. When you passive voice, you just have to add by Nitesh by Radhika or by her, and then just focus on the verbs there, what verbs to use. PP form of verb is common in all the tenses. Only the helping verb, auxiliary verb that we use, we need to be very careful. Now here this masterpiece has been, has आ गया, created आ गया, what we added again here, been. It is B-double-E-N, and being is used in present continuous tense, B-E-I-N-G, because it is an ing form of verb. And I have read the newspaper has been read by me. Now the rules for simple past, very simple. Already you know the subject and the verb is in V2 form. Like if I say I eat an apple, so the past tense of eat is ate. I ate an apple. So what would be the passive form? The apple was eaten by me. So when the sentence is in sentence given in active voice is in past tense, you just have to use was or were and V3 form of verb. Let's see some examples. Rima cleaned the floor. The floor was clean. What we have added is was cleaned. So it remained the same because V3 form of verb of cleaned is clean only. Aisha bought a cycle. A bicycle was bought by Aisha. Here also bought has remained the same because past tense verb, the past tense of buy is bought and past participle is also bought. Naman called my friends. My friends were called by Naman. Why were? In the first sentence we said was bought, was cleaned. And here why were? Because my friends. Friends is plural. So we say my friends were called by Naman. I saved him. He was saved by me. And Maria paid the bills. The bills were paid by Maria. Now here all the verbs given in the active voice are being did not remain the same because the past participle form of those verb is the same. If you see bought, called, remained same here, saved also remains same here, paid also remains same here. But if I say one example, she sang the song. She sang the song. Now what is the part? This is the past tense of sang. But what is the past participle? Sung. So in this case, your verb will change to past participle saying that the song was sung by her. Got it? Now the rules for past continuous. Here also the rules are same. ing form hai to BEING you have to put it in passive voice. Only the helping verb auxiliary verb changes, that is was or verb, because the sentence is in past tense. See here, Nitika was painting the wall. Was and this painting ka PP form is painted. We just add being there. So the wall was being painted by Nitika. But if I say Nitika is painting the wall, what will change? Only this auxiliary verb will change. The wall is being painted by Nitika because in active voice it is there. Manish was repairing a car. The car was being repaired by Manish. Remember, past participle of the verbs are coming here now. Were you reciting the poem? Was the poem being recited? You can add by you there, no problem. She was baking the cake. The cake was being baked by her. Again, baked. The past participle form of bake is baked. Now, the last slide I'll give you, summarize with the tenses that we have learned. The simple present and simple present, present continuous, present perfect, past simple and past continuous. You see, the sentences here are same. They discuss the book. The verb is discuss. The book is discussed by them. We add is and discussed here. Now they are discussing the book now. So present continuous, the book is being discussed. Present perfect, they have already discussed. The book, passive voice will be the book has already been discussed. Past simple, they discussed the book yesterday. The book was discussed yesterday by them. You can add there by them. Past continuous, they were discussing the book when you came in. The book was being discussed when you came in. Now if you notice here in the passive voice, what has not changed is this verb discuss. Everywhere you will find discussed, discussed, discussed and discussed. What changes it? In simple present we have is, present continuous we have is being, present perfect we have has and been, past perfect, sorry, simple past we have was, and past continuous we have was and being. So these verb, otherwise the main verb remains in PP form discussed in all the tenses. I hope you understood this. Next session we'll see the changing of sentence of past perfect and future tense, and we'll summarize again like this. Okay, thank you children, have a nice day.